and welcome back to the channel, and welcome to the one and only Costa del Cambois. We are here for the annual, maybe biannual pilgrimage for a bit of a beach session with my mate Sam. It's a nice morning. We've got a light northerly, a bit of a dying sea. It's been blowing quite heavily from the north all the week, so there's a hell of a lot of colour on the water. Tide's ebbing. We've got a big spring tide. I think it's about a 1.1 metre ebb at about 20 to 10, so about another hour. Got a couple of little holes in front of us. There's a few nice tables of surf coming in, so we're just going to have a little bit of a scratching session on the beach and see if we can pick something up. Rigs, I tied these up last night. I'm actually prepped for once, believe it or not. Admittedly, I was a little bit drunk when I tied them, so we'll see how they work, but hopefully they're all right. I'm just going very, very simple, very standard. 2-hook flapper. We've got power swivel on the top, about 2 foot ASO Ultraflex, 70-pound rig body. Crimp, bead, swivel arrangement. Short, 40-pound amnesia snoods. Bottom hook is a size 2 Camazan. I think it's a B49 something or other. And the pennel is a size 4 Camazan. Flapping rigs, if you think about it, when you cast, because you're not clipped, the bait automatically gets pushed up against the hook anyway. But for me, I just feel more confident having a little pennel, just in case if I'm using a rag bait, something hits it from the top, and it means I can catch something small and I don't blank. So I've intentionally gone for very short snoods, basically because I know even though there's only a couple of foot swell running, it's a big tide and there is a lot of pull on this beach, so I like to just keep everything nice and short and compact, and it just minimises tangles. As always, bit of heat through your rigs. Little tip when using crimps, and I've seen it happen, 70-pound rig body, you get your crimp, people squeeze them hard as they possibly can, they then attach a 5-6 ounce sinker, blast it, the rig body snaps, and they think, well, why has that happened? Well, it's happened because your 70-pound has been turned into probably 25 or 30, so I just nip these, and actually with enough pull they would probably slide, but there's enough resistance whereby a fish will register against the braid and the rod before that would slip, but I don't put a lot of pressure onto them. So very, very simple. I was going to use my Flatty Fanatic. I've scaled up a little bit. I've opted for my T800 Shimano Heterotechnium, and I'm putting a 5-ounce gripper, and I'm just the wires are fairly loose, but I just want enough resistance so if I do hit a fish, it can hook itself and then register against the rod. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to put a little bit of mackerel strip on the top hook, so that's kind of waving around, and closer to the bottom, bit of rag for a flounder. You never know, even a bass. Mine, it's cold. It's probably, when I got up this morning, it was about 2 degrees, and it's not that much warmer now, so I might have to put the hat on in a minute. So we'll get baited up and we'll get it flicked out and just see if we can pull something out. So what I'm doing, I've got a small, couple of inches of sort of, I don't know what you would call it, miniature bluey, and I'm just cutting that, and there's my 2 little baits. So all I'm doing on that top hook, I am going to use a little bit of elastic on here, very fine stuff. I'm just laying that down the length, and all I'll do where the knot is, so putting the knot, I've left a little tag end, and get hold of that. Just a little bit of elastic in the midsection, just like that. Probably go a little bit further down actually. I might just try and, still pretty frozen, that'll try and just bend it round the hook. Up and down a couple of times, not a lot. Back down, a bit more around the middle, break it off, and then I'll just get that little size 4. 1, 2, and I can just go 1/2 inch into the bottom. Because I'm using £40 those size 4, the eyes on them are very small, so you get quite a lot of resistance. But there's the bait. I like needles, those Cambois hooks. Nice and simple. Fingers are already freezing cold touching that bait, and I mean freezing. Right. Sam very kindly picked up the rag from Billy's because I didn't have time to do it, so cheers Sam and cheers Billy. What I like to do with me rag, just personal preference, I like to hook them tail first, trying to ensure that the hook doesn't break through the body halfway. Can use a bait needle, I rarely use them. They are good though, they're very good. So the head is right at the bottom near the danger end, and then a couple of turns, 1, 2, nick that top hook on the top like that, pull that through, try not to get the hook slammed under my nail. And of course, I've just realised I've done the complete opposite of what I said, which is I've put the rag on the top and the bluey on the bottom. Never mind, I'll change it for the next cast. Right. Tell you what, it's cold, but it's a cracking morning, and because it's Friday, there's barely anybody around, so I think all I'm going to do, got the mouth of the Wandsback coming out to my left, I can see it deflecting up against the surf. I've got a feeling it's going to pull around to the right, so I mean it shouldn't pull too much with 5 ounces of lead on, but I'm just going to cast it northeast a little bit, kind of into that main flow, and then if it does move around, it should just straighten up in front of us. So I'm not going to tighten up. I've mentioned before using braid, I will take up a bit of the slack, but I'll just let that gripper and the glass tip do its job. So let's see what we're going to do. God, my hands are freezing. I'm going to have to put my gloves on. I am beginning to think I possibly could have got away with me flattish fanatic here, but never mind, we're here now. I think the sea is due to lift a little bit, so once that tide starts to turn, and if the wind starts to push, it might have been a bad idea after all, but right now feels slight overkill. So I think what we're going to do, got about an hour and a half till bottom. There's a bit of a sandbar that you can just see Sam walking out onto there. We're going to put the tripods on there, Sea's actually dropped since this morning, so I'm going to fire on probably just behind those breakers, see if there's anything running along the back of the breakers a bit further out. Right, first cast being in about 20 minutes, half an hour, and safe to say nothing on it. Barely that far out now. Tide's ebbing off very quickly. Yeah, zero, absolute zero. Let's have a look at that. So put this other rig out, and then put this other rig on, and then go and join Sam out there.
You seen the colour of it?
Aye, double-sided. It's just hooking them out as well, which is ideal, like. Right, well, got out onto that sandbar, flicked it out more or less at the back of the waves, little rattle, and almost a double-sided flounder. And that's why when I say I use those little top pennel hooks, had I not had that on, I may well have missed that fish. Just that little size 4, it's done the job. So a nice humble spring flounder, certainly not the biggest, but very welcome. So we'll get him back, get back out onto that bar, ping another one out. Going the wrong way, man. Right, I think this time I'm gonna fire it up to the northeast a little bit. I'm gonna try and get in behind that surf. Just gonna cast it to my left, just to try and account for a bit of the drag, because there is a bit out there. So let's see. Yeah, that's in behind them. I'm not tightening up, I'm leaving a bogus. Even with a bow with braid, you can still register the bites. We've had a couple of casts down at the mouth there. It's ebbed off a load. We've been talking about a little area down there that Sam fancies, so looks pretty good. So we're just going to shift the gear about 100 yards down the beach and see if we can get in behind those breakers and pull something out. Right, nothing to write home about, but another small little flatty little flounder. Lots of orange spots, but it is a flounder, it's not a place. But we'll get him back. We've moved again, so we're on our third spot now. Tide will be turning soon. There's a likely looking hole down there, so see if we can pull someone else out. Don't know if you can see from the way the line's moving, but that northerly that was forecast has really picked up now. It's put a proper bit of chop and fizz on the sea, which is obviously good for the potential of a bass, albeit slim, because it is mid-March, but you do get them now and again. So I might, on this rig, I might take that bit of bluey off and double rag it, because it is quite a nice looking hole over there, and we're not going to get that much time to fish it because the tide's going to turn any minute and it is going to start surging in quite quickly. So we're already having to stand over kind of in the water where the rod rests. So I think I'm just going to try and max my chances and get a bit of rag on both and just see. You never know, there might be a little bar of silver out there. Well people, that's the end of the session. We are about an hour and a half into high water. The weeds come on, the wind's really picked up. We've been out quite a long time and it's getting quite cold, but I've had a couple of flounders. Sam had a little flounder as well, so it's been nice to catch up and get out and get some fresh air. But we get home, cleaned up, cup of tea on the sofa, and then I'm away to the lakes for the weekend. So not a bad little start of the weekend. Friday off, bit of fishing, catch up with a mate and a couple of fish. So thoroughly enjoyed it. So as always, thanks very much for watching. Any questions, queries, comments, drop us a note, a comment in the comments, and I'll get back to you. Have a great weekend, and tight lines, keep fishing. We'll see you again soon.